Mind your ears. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Blizzard Buzz. I am your host, Ara. Joining me is my lovely assistant, Caleb, and a special guest for tonight, Captain Cooper. Welcome to Blizzard Buzz.
Thanks for having very me. Happy to have you. It's of course. Do you want to give yourself a full introduction, just for our listeners who don't know, foolishly, who don't know who you are?
Sure. I'm Captain Cooper, probably better known as GM of the Texas Renegades, and award head for the SHL Award Committee. I still feel like a lot of people don't know me just because I just like to hide and pop out when needed, but I don't know. I'm hearing my name more and more lately, so who knows?
Well, I mean, once Toaster gets his claws in you, he's very happy to tell everyone how nice everyone is. So, and I do keep. I don't know how much I'm contributing to that, but I'm consistently vomiting out. You should talk to Cooper. He's a nice guy. So apologies for sending more work your way, but
I'll take. It's a nice reputation. I'll take it.
That's a wonderful reputation to have. I mean, everyone I've talked to about you and my interactions with you during the awards streams have been nothing but pleasant. So glad to have you with us tonight, Cooper.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So I know we have a few more firm topics that we're going to want to go over with you, but if you'd like, I want to talk to you a little bit GM to GM, because I have no idea how you're doing it, but Texas, we were kind of gambling on Texas not having a particularly strong opening, but you guys are still quite dominant. I mean, taking down Tampa Bay and the Panthers, and yeah, I mean, you had that. I admit I laughed when I saw that 10-1 from Philadelphia, but they crushed us too. So
yeah, it was a rough day today.
Yeah,
but I mean, you guys, other than that, it was a great start.
Yeah, I mean, taking down Chicago, and you gave us. I think we're 1-1 between our two teams right now, eh?
I think so. Yeah, it was a loss today, but it was a good match. I mean, I still feel like we're definitely overperforming if you're looking at TPE numbers, but it's been a great start.
So, and of course, Ara, feel free to either jump in or just box me if I'm talking too much to him. But
you're good for right now.
Now, you and Anthik, I know, are both excellent GMs. I love chatting with both of you. I've got Anthik in my committee, and of course, I chat with you both for trades and just as we do now. But what would you say is your secret sauce as a GM? I know we asked this of Ramen, and we'll probably ask it of every GM on the show, but
probably.
That's a good question, I guess. I don't know. We just stay positive. I mean, the biggest thing for us is no matter what shape the team is in, the goal is always win. So, I mean, even though we're rebuilding and we were supposed to be bad last season, but ended up winning the division, and this season we're off to another hot start. But like, losing is whatever, but like everyone's having more fun when we're winning. So, I mean, even the prospects and any free agents we signed last season who just joined the team for the first time, everyone was hyped up because we were winning. So I mean, if we were losing, it would just be, it's okay, it's fun. You're there on the team, but winning's more fun. So everyone's having more fun.
Now, I know that early on last season with the particularly large draft class, I think you and I were some of the earliest people to start scouting. What does your scouting strategy look like? Because I know there's been some talk from a couple of people talking about setting up a new strategy for scouting, and I'll admit I started early, but there was no strategy whatsoever. I was just vomiting out messages to everybody I saw. For someone who's got his shit together, what's your approach?
Well, my main goal, especially like this is the first draft we've been able to really dig our claws into, because I mean prior to this, we've had no picks to use. So we would probably just dig around like whoever's going to be in the late second, third round and just go from there. But this time we actually got to like, hey, we can actually talk to the first round people and actually get some of them. So it was nice to dig in. But the main goal most of the time is just scout everybody, send everybody a message and get a hold of someone. And even if they're at the bottom of the list, but they're still active, like that's still someone to potentially, be a deep player on your team. So the main thing is just talk to everybody, give everybody an opportunity to talk back.
Yeah, it helps you find the unscrupulous types too. As our draft classes get bigger and bigger, I don't envy HO with trying to keep those people out. It's different when it's only 30 a season.
Oh yeah, this draft class is insane. Like, going into it, because my goal was to recreate for this draft class regardless. But then being in that draft, the rookie server was like, it just kept growing and it just kept growing and growing. We're like, man, this is insane. Like, is there ever going to be an end to it? But it just kept going and it ended up being the biggest draft class. So it's just insane.
Yeah, I know in the recruitment team we've got. I can't remember if it's Bad Wolf or if it's someone else who every time a new person joins, they post a new GIF. And if you want to screw with Naomi, one of the easiest things is you go in there and just put a hello, or this is what it will look like when a new person joins. Now, I know we're going to talk to you about your changes in the awards and more generally just, role as GM and what you think awards should be moving towards. But Ara, if you want to throw a few questions his way too, there's no need to hop into things early, right? We've
it's
got
all
a long
good.
show.
So, yeah, admittedly, I was a bit surprised by how well y'all did this past season. I mean, not to say Texas was bad or anything, it's just I did not expect y'all to place as high as you did, let alone have that many winners on the awards. With that being said, how did the team feel about y'all's performance this past season, and what would you say was the biggest driving factor in your success in your locker room and on your team, if you don't mind me asking?
Good question. I think something we probably got to benefit from, because even though we traded, like Valentine was gone, and one of our best defenseman in his prime was traded as well, Leafs. So like, despite losing those big players, we still had like like a chain of two players, excuse me, on the same line who had a lot of chemistry together still, anyways. So throwing, say, like McZ came in as the rookie and sat on the top line with St. Clair and DM, who have had plenty of experience together in chemistry, and chemistry plays a pretty big role in the league. So at least with McZ up on top playing with them, he was able to just score insane amounts of goals, which he did, and that benefited him and it benefited us as well, because I think the first line carried a fair bit of weight on the team, but the rest of the depth just kind of held it all together. And I've mentioned it somewhere else before too, but like, I live for the depth. I'm a big depth person, and our whole team right now is pretty well a depth team, so it's just working well for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I've been looking at that going. Even the people at the very bottom, the people going plus minus and the negatives. You're seeing people that are at the lowest getting what, like -4 and -5, and that's the lowest they've gone. Your depth is pretty crazy.
I thank Hodor for just eating all the pucks and blocking shots.
That's fair, yeah. And I know Hodor, yeah. And honestly, that was kind of Hodor's cross to bear on QCC as well.
Yeah.
But Lord, did he put in work there? So
Yeah, hopefully he's going to get that shots blocked record. I mean, I feel like there's no way he's not going to get it. So
yeah,
that's the main goal for him right now.
Nice.
Yeah. Let me see there. I know it looks like Ali's been putting in good work for you guys too, eh? That was I gotta say thank you very much for that trade. I hope that helped you as much as it helped us, and seeing Ali go to a team that can really make use of him was that was happy. I was like, I don't like I really don't like cutting players, and I talked to them for a long time before I move them anywhere. It was, yeah.
Yeah, no, they've fit in well. They're they're right in the spot where we needed them to, and it just worked out.
Let me see there. If we don't have any more, I guess, accessory questions, then I'd love to dive into what you'll be doing with the awards committee, because I've also been looking at changes that I can make to All Star. And frankly, I'd like to talk up a more experienced committee head. I know Ara has her own committee as well, so we can
All
sort
committee
of
heads
committee
here.
head roundtable this thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah, eat your
Yes.
heart out, SHL tonight.
Put our heads together.
Yeah.
sure.
Now let me just pull up the announcement that you did, because I want to make sure I don't misquote you. Tell you what, while I'm doing that, would you mind just giving everyone a quick refresher on what it is that you plan on introducing as changes?
Right. So this all came up from there had been some, like, there's always comments. You can't make everybody happy with the results of the award committee, never. So HO did their end of season survey and kind of opened the floor for everyone to make comments on committees and what they think of them. And so we took that feedback, and there was lots of positive feedback about things we're doing right. And one of the things that came up was was the bias and GMs on the committee and stuff like that. So I mean, we felt, okay, well, we need to change some things and clear some things up as well. So I've got the post up here, but yeah, the things we wanted to definitely clear up first was, like, GMs on the committee. There was no committee members at the time who were actually a GM, aside from me. But like I added in the next line, as award head, I don't vote. I don't make any votes on the ballot. I just provide information for everyone to kind of vote on and help out. I try not to step in. I might, promote discussions just to help get things going, but I won't actually say, vote for this person or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then the other big thing was the transparency, right? Just having all the results available for everyone to check out. So I think the post awards presentation posts, as I like to call them, have been pretty good. They've been very positive feedback on those. Everyone gets to look at how the committee members came to their decisions on who they voted for, and it's just a nice bit of information. See how it all worked out.
Yeah. Now, as a first sort of branch off question, and of course, Ara, feel free to jump in.
I will.
I know the SHL All Star Week or All Star Committee and the J All Star Committee were combined on one server, and Farah and I talk things through pretty closely. What level of integration, if any, would you say you've got with the J Awards Committee? And I think it's still Seven that runs that, right?
Yeah, Seven and Kari are running the show for the J Awards. I am in their server. They added me in because they wanted to kind of talk about calendar stuff and try to schedule things out. But we didn't get much beyond that. So our main goal, pretty well, as committees, is just to make sure our stuff is released at the same time, so the awards can be done at the same time, which makes sense. But other than that, we're kind of doing our own things.
No worries at all. I know a ton of people like to do things differently. Caleb was, from what I hear anyway, Caleb was also very, leave me alone with my committee and make my own choices, and and he did run it pretty well. So, yeah, taking over after him, there's a lot that goes into running a committee too, and apparently I've got one of the easier ones, right? I'm not staring down the barrel the way that Ara and you are. I gotta say, I loved hearing that transparency line from you, because it's not even just as a, hey, the league is corrupt, more just, man, when I was up there presenting, I like the interviews, I like the write-ups that you guys had, but I want to be able to talk about the committee as well, like just to say, hey, this is why they were doing it. that sounds like something a lot more interesting than.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the write-ups, it's kind of aimed for. Well, they kind of ended up being a lot longer than I wanted them to, but I just wanted to ask every nominee a random question and just get a random answer.
Yeah.
And it didn't really. I ended up getting a lot more, and we kind of talked about it in the committee as well. Like, what else can we add to the presentations to make them more entertaining?
Mhm.
And one thing came up about like player lore, right? Let's learn more about the players, and it's an opportunity to do that. So it was kind of sneak in little, you know, cameos of flavor in the players and learn more about them while also being nominated.
Yeah, I can totally see why too. We've got some people that, especially when someone's on the awards so often that you're pretty confident you're looking at a
Oh.
future Hall of Famer. That could be, that lore would be nice. Give
Yeah,
people some
I mean,
familiarity.
it definitely goes a long way towards getting people invested with players and just in general making the awards more fun. Which, to be fair, that was something I was kind of annoyed we did, or was kind of angry with myself that we didn't really cover in depth on that award stream, but that's what it is.
Yeah, instead we got, God damn it, Caleb, and
Yeah.
bless your heart.
Although I am admittedly pissed that we didn't get that award stream saved.
Yeah, that was
No.
sad. That was so disappointing. But I
Yeah,
mean,
like-
it is what it is.
Mhm.
Like,
I mean, hey, good on Ace for stepping up and redo that. That could not have been a fun thing to do.
No.
Just all on your lonesome, reading off the PowerPoint slides.
admittedly, this, and I know I'm going to catch flack for this, but I really don't care. So more or less what happened to our viewers was we had a command from on high saying, "Oh yeah, you'll need to do it on Twitch stream." Like 3 hours before the show. Told them, "Okay, we need to make sure everything is set up and fine." Got told, "No, all you need to do is stream kit." I was like, "Fine." And lo and behold, we find out the next day, didn't freaking save. Because they had it disabled.
I mean, hey, better to learn the lesson with us than I think we might have saved SHL Tonight's bacon too, though, because none of their stuff was saved either.
Yeah.
And
Good way to find out.
yeah, better, especially with the heavy caliber stuff that SHL Tonight's handling.
Mhm.
It would not be good for them to to say, "Hey, we're going to do a key stream over Twitch," and
No,
shoot,
it would not be.
it's not saved.
But there was a fair amount of viewers tuned in during the presentation as well. So
I think we got on average between 20 and 25, which is actually pretty good for an
it seemed pretty good to me. I think when I seen it was 28. So I don't know if anyone dropped after the SHL part or anything like that.
I was keeping an eye on it throughout it. During the SHL part, I think we got up to about 30, and on average had between 25 and 30. During the SMJHL part, it dipped to between 18 and 24.
Yeah, no, that's just Toaster. We had 3 people in Toaster on 25 monitors. I was loving the DMs we were getting off. Did you get anybody DMing you too, Ara?
I got a few DMs. It was mostly I was just reading chat.
Yeah, I know.
Comments.
I know I got a few from Toaster, and my favorite ones were from Ara saying, "Hey, stick to the script." My Ritalin had long since worn off by that.
I think I had even messaged Ara saying, "Yeah, you don't have to read it all if you want to keep going here. You got a long presentation to go through."
Yeah.
I still love the fact we were able to sneak in a couple of New Vegas references too.
Oh yeah, sorry. I gotta say, Cooper, on Blizzard Buzz, there's 2 necessary segments. First one is we talk about Fallout New Vegas, and the second one is we bitch about how the SHL job pay is too low, and it makes people hoard jobs. We never know when it's going to come up, but there's usually enough mental illness in the chat that someone somewhere is bringing it up.
We can't expect God to do all the work.
There's the New
We can't
Vegas.
expect
All right.
God to do all the work.
So to speak on the voting bias with the soft cap of 1 and the hard cap of 2, do you mind elucidating what the difference between those two are going to be? Like the soft cap and the hard cap. I mean,
Right. So yeah. So it was essentially, ideally, the committee is full of one user representing one team. But I mean, we understand that we might not get enough applicants and be to a point where, okay, well, we need to hire someone, and there's only options to people from the same team. So in that situation, we would hire a second person from the same team. That would be the hard cap, right? Too. We wouldn't want any more representing one team. Any more than 2 people representing one team.
yeah. And would you, when you throw out hiring posts, would you say like we're seeking members from these teams, or would that seem to be a step too far? Do you think?
I think so. Well, I mean, we kind of didn't really have to specify in the most recent job ad because we need. I think I said we need 7 committee members, but now that's including like the 3 that are still around have not met that 3-season cap yet, and whereas everybody else are practically furniture on the committee. So I mean, which is the other side to look at too. Like it's been the same committee for quite some time, save for 2 or 3 people. So in doing this, we had some members totally agree and then step aside to give someone else an opportunity, and then there was others who said, yeah, totally understand, I will be reapplying though. And that's great too, though, because I mean, they're invested, they care about the awards and who's getting them and history of the league. So I mean, it's great that they're reapplying as well.
And it almost feels bad, right? Because so many of them have been there for so long. And I know it's the same with the All-Star committee. Is the people that have been on there the longest, they're just really good at what they do, right? Like the nominations they put forward are just really good picks. And you go, well, if they're biased, I'm gonna have to train somebody new.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, you're familiar with Ramen. Ramen's been on the committee for a long time, and he's always got a lot of input and great numbers and a great approach to how he does all the awards. So, I mean, he's someone who is reapplying, and it's hard to say no to someone like Ramen on the committee.
Yeah, of course, right? Oh, sorry. To go back to the award stream, Ramen. Who's that? Just in time?
Ever heard of him?
Yeah, never heard of the guy.
First time.
Yeah. So to speak on that a little bit further, because I know this is something I'm also considering. What do you think is the ideal size for a committee that votes this way? Because I know are you guys, you also primarily do it through Google surveys, right?
Yeah, that's how we do the ballots. We use the Google surveys to get our final ballots in.
I'm looking at, because I know All-Star Week only has 5 people on it, and I love all 5 of those people. Actually, a special shout out to your co-GM Antique. Antique actually utterly nailed this one. I remember DMing him or putting it in the chat, going, "You picked every single position. Like not that not that all of his were those, but he voted the way the rest of the committee voted, all the way down the line. It was like a 91% accuracy rate from Antique. I'm like, I don't need a committee, man. I just need you." But do you think you're going to stick with 7, or
well, that's the idea is to have 10 total committee members. So we're hiring 7, and we'll have the 3 that are remaining on the committee as well. So it'll be a 10-person committee. Okay. But when I first, while it was on the committee, we did not have that many. And it was only after talking to Seven and Kari and realized that they had 10 members. Like, man, we should have 10 members. And but it worked. I mean, ever since we hired up to a max of 10, so we had 10 committee members for the first time, and the chat was just so way busier than it had ever been. And committee members that had been there for a long time, like Ramen, would say, this is fantastic, it's so great to see this place moving like it is now. So the aim is to keep it that way, and I think with an influx of members, even if we get some reapplying and some new ones, a combination, it's going to be a busy spot, and it's going to be great for discussion.
what would you be looking for in a new hire for that role?
Well,
Not to turn this into your your recruitment post or anything, but
welcome to the interview.
yeah.
No, I mean, I've got it pretty well broken down into 3 questions right now, and that's pretty well just if you're confident in having a discussion in amongst the committee, if you can support for your nominee who you would really want to fight to make sure they win something, and support others as well, when they bring up other nominees, because discussion is the biggest thing that drives this whole thing. And the second being, I have a question about the Bojo and a small breakdown, just to kind of get an idea of, what's the thought process behind, what's the thought process they use to find a nominee, how they look into stats and how they look into other things like that. So that kind of gives us a good idea of how they do a breakdown on players. And then my other question is just what they think of the changes that we've made. So that's pretty well been the interview process so far. And we've, in past hiring posts for this, when we've had like 2 or 3 open spots or less, I think we've gotten like 2 or 3 applicants. For whatever reason, this time we've got like over 10. It's pretty impressive, honestly, but it's nice that we've got actually like a great group of people to pick from, and it's going to be really hard to make the decision.
I mean, in all honesty, having seen some of the questions, yeah, I think I do not envy you for the picks you're going to have to make on this one, man. I mean,
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
agonizing process.
It's between myself and Grape, and who's been great on the committee as well, and makes the slides for me, which is the thing I dread the most. So I'm really glad Grape does that for us. And Schwartz is the old award head, and she's no longer on the committee, but she's still in our I've got the Talking Heads channel in the awards committee. That's our main one. But yeah, she kind of gives us a bit of oversight on some ideas, and if we're ever stuck and need like a third kind of head to go to, she gives us some great support.
So I know HO has been pushing some broad changes across some of the various departments after last season. Beyond or I should say, did their comments have any influence on your decisions to change up the awards committee, or was it all your initiative, if you don't mind me asking?
It's pretty well, yeah, no, I think initiative is a good way to put it. They pretty well said, hey, we got the feedback from the survey. Here's all the responses. And they had it sorted by, positive remarks, neutral remarks, and like critical remarks. And so between, it took some time, and myself and Great Red them kind of squashed a few things that like the GM voting, because like I said, there's no GMs on the committee aside from myself, and I don't even vote, so I had to clear that up. But between myself and the couple of HO members that I spoke to about it, we kind of just talked out a few things, and there was some ideas that they had I didn't really agree with, and some I had that we kind of worked around, and it just kind of turned into this that we all agreed on. And I think the results are good. We're getting a lot of positive feedback on the changes, so I think I'm happy with the changes so far.
Sorry about that. I had to take care of my cat.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, as I think I told you in my message to you, I rather liked a lot of the changes he made, and I think the boards committee well in the future. Having talked with HO during the review of the deep dives procedures and the team structure this past season, some of the comments they make, well, they come from a well-intentioned place, but at times and forgive me if I sound off base. Excuse me. Any of them strike you as being unneeded or what have you, or do you think they were all pretty good?
I think for the most part, I've already come to realize that no matter what we do with the awards committee, there's always going to be people who are not happy, no matter what. So that's something I've kind of learned with and dealt with, and like I've told the rest of the committee, like I'm big and bad enough I can handle any critical remarks. I'll reply to them maturely and deal with it and take anything that they've got to say and bring it back. And if we've got to change things, we can. But I mean, some of the biggest things were pretty well just. I think the worst comments were just like, awards don't matter, don't care, and a lot of the bad stuff we had were actually about the J committee too. So like they were all kind of mixed in together, and they were kind of throwing hash browns at them too. So but other than that, most of the criticism was fair. And well, the biggest thing that came up the most for negativity was the bias, and I understand how people can see the bias, but they're from getting the actual results and looking at the polls and stuff, like it's all done pretty fair. But I do understand the concern, and I think at least this way we do it. Not only are we comfortable with the committee members, but so is the community.
Nice. And sorry about that. My co-host was having a technical.
Yeah, there's one
Partly my
hell of a
fault.
storm outside right now. I did want to ask as well, with expansion coming for us as well, are you looking at expanding the size of your committee just to bring on more voices, or is it's just about as much as one person can handle?
That's not a bad question. I haven't really considered it. I think probably what we'll do is we'll roll a 10. Maybe that's something I'll see what the Grape wants to say about it as well. But I think with 10 members we're okay. It does give an opportunity for 4 more committee members to rep, 4 more teams for committee members to represent from. So at least that way we're not totally stuck with the amount of users we have from certain teams. So I think that is benefit.
I know there's been some talk with myself, and I know you're talking about Schwartz coming in to give you guys a hand. We have Egg, who does the same thing for us.
Nice.
Though, of course, with plenty more lewd jokes because it's Egg. But I love him. But to speak on your, let me see, where was I? Sorry, I'm watching for flashes outside my window and then muting before the boom shakes my house. So I know we went over what the soft cap versus hard cap is. Let me see there. Oh yes, okay. Time for the second diversion because I think we're more than halfway through, so it's time for us to talk about money. Now, you handle pay for your people the same way as the rest of us, of course, but do you think that the pay for your group is proportional? And don't worry, this is the Blizzard Buzz. We have bad takes all the time. Hey, listen, I called the season 82 draft class small, so no shame.
Depends on how you look at it, I guess. I don't know. When it comes to pay, I think the committee members get paid a decent amount, but they also there's a nice bonus, if they take part in weekly discussions and show their activity, there's a 500,000 bonus, a weekly bonus. So I mean, they can, as award head gets paid 5 million, and each committee member could get paid the same if they're active and take part in every weekly discussion. So I think it's pretty decent. I think that's probably one of the better paying site jobs, because there's some where you're doing a pile of work and you only get paid 2.5 million or something. So they should be asking for more money.
Yeah, I know. In your case, Ara, what are your people getting? I despise the government at every given opportunity. But I know it's the same for. Well, it's not quite the same for me, right? But I've got some really solid people in mind, like D2, Jaden, Triplet Gamers, amazing. Be Fine, of course, the worst human being that anyone has ever met. Honestly, he's like he is to me what I am to Cake. He just seems to be in every single Discord that that I'm
Pretty
in.
much.
Yeah, every time I go there, he's either there already or he follows me.
I think everyone in the SHL has a ghost that follows them. It's Patrick is following me now everywhere.
Yeah. I like Norm and Tony Flo. I'll just round them all out. I love these guys. They're fantastic. I wish I could offer them bonuses. And have you reformed your pay structure in your committee before? Or
No, this was pretty well the way it was when I took it over. So, and I think it's fair. I'm happy getting what I get out of it, and I think the bonus you get for the weekly discussion, I think it's a good incentive. Like it's easy to just take part in a couple chats and talk enough to get your bonus, right? But like it helps clear wards out, because I mean when everyone's discussing who they think should come up, and then all of a sudden someone says like, what about this guy, and we bring up the stats, you're like, oh wow, yeah, they're actually pretty good, and then you keep an eye on them for the rest of the season. So I mean those discussions really help pry out players. So it's a benefit to them for getting money, and a benefit to those players who are getting nominated.
I don't really mean for us in terms of pay. I mean, I know Ara and you are both well above 100 million in your bank, and I would be there as well if I didn't have a crippling addiction to buying cards
I've been
and like
buying,
getting
so
signature things.
I've
And
got the one
Same.
subscription right now, and I've
week.
had it for as long as I can remember. So I've
Mhm.
got like 300 packs to open, and
This
I've started
guy-
a thing now. Every time I log in the morning, like I've got my routine at work where I open up my work tabs and then I open up my SHL tabs, and
Yep.
every time I open SHL, I'll go trading cards, buy Ruby pack, and close it. So
Yep.
I've got 60 Ruby packs to open now. I haven't touched them yet, and
Yes. Exact
wondering how
same for
far
me.
I can get it going. But I try to spend the money, and yet I still have it. And then the end of the season comes, and I get my GM pay and whatever, and like I've still got a bunch. Like I can't. I'm trying to spend it, and it just keeps coming back. So, which is not a bad complaint. But between the couple jobs and like the regular posting of, I don't post a lot of media, but I'll post the the post presentation forum posts and whatnot, and that ends up being a couple more dollars in the bank, and I'm just good. And I think my chirper streak is still unbroken, so there's that as well.
I know. Oh yeah. Speaking of media, Ara, you owe me. It's been your turn for weeks now.
I know.
Yeah.
But
I'm
you
not.
also
I'm not
haven't
mad.
missed-
I'm furious. Let me see. That honestly, I really enjoy that page. I'm not sure if it would work so much for All Star, just because we largely discuss, vote, and then it's a very short process.
Mhm.
And to be fair, it's a lot easier for us because we don't have to pick just one winner. I do want to talk to you about one specific form of bias that I know I brought it up with a couple other people. Not that I'm accusing other people of doing it, but I think it can be a little bit harder to spot, and it's actually something I picked up from working, from having people work for me, like construction contractors and the like. Is a lot of times people will go along with my plan, not because it's a good plan, but because I'm the one who got the contract and I signed the paychecks, and I wonder if there isn't kind of the same thing. And I noticed this a few times in the All Star committee, and I pinged my people, and I'm like, this might be putting my thumb on the scale, but I honestly didn't care. There were seasons where Matthias, like my player, had absolutely no business being on the All Star team, right? Like he was negative 24 plus and minus, and his block shots might have climbed above like 40 or 50, and that's not good for a defensive team. But nevertheless, people would vote for him because he's my player. Now, I'm not saying that you're a awful person who can't play the SHL, but have you noticed that ever come up with your job in the awards, where people they'll make a case for your player, or a player that's known to be a friend of yours, when And would you step in if you saw that, or just kind of go, yeah, okay, we'll talk about it?
Yeah, I don't think it's ever happened. I don't I don't press and be like, "Hey, Texas is doing pretty good. Let's
Yeah.
throw some votes for the Renegades." But no, I've never, like the Renegades were, we won the the coaching award this season. I said zero things in that chat, and I just as surprised doing up the tallies, winning the award than anyone else who would be when presented during the presentation. It was pretty nice surprise. So, I can't say there's any bias that I'm throwing on, and I don't think anyone on the committee would say that. I
No,
don't think so. I
yeah.
usually stay pretty quiet. My biggest thing is getting them the information for players they need and stuff like that. But my I don't even know if my player's ever been nominated. My last player, Dirty.
That was the joke. Yeah, I'm like, because I scrolled through there. I'm like, wow, this is going to be a hilarious question to ask Cooper, because he's gonna be like, oh yeah, they're so biased towards me. It's why I win so many awards.
But yeah, no. I would say no.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good to hear, right? And the thing is too, going forward, because I know All-Star Week we're going to start looking at getting more people as well. We had a decent number, but like I think one of the players we got was Lalaran, and of course, there was that whole disaster with them. So
Yes.
we're going to have to hire a good few people, and I worry too, because I want to be hiring newer members, because especially with that kind of blessing of I've got Norm, I've got Tony Flo, I've got Be Fine, I've got Antique, I've got Farah and Egg in the wings that can jump in to give me a hand. I want to bring in new players. I just want to think. I know you've been in this gig a lot longer than Ara and I have. Do you think there's any particular thing that you do or don't do that helps cultivate the culture in your committee that could be of use to other people?
Kind of a good question. I'm trying to think now, but like,
Sorry for the rambling. I'm
no,
my
that's
Ritalin wore
fine.
off hours ago. So.
No, I think like the goal, like before being head, like I was just a committee member, and while in that chair, I would think about things I would do differently, or anything like that, and then the opportunity came up, and I was able to kind of get in there. And my biggest goal was always the discussion. So the biggest part of making the committee what it is now is bringing in active members, and that's kind of the benefit of doing the whole hiring process, is finding out who talking to active people, getting the responses, and how well they respond. And then when they come in, you see how well of a good fit they are, right? Like Toaster's a new user, but on the site, but he's been on the committee now for one full season, and he's off to a great start. Like he took part in discussions. You could tell, even though his player's not in the SHL and he had to familiarize himself with those players, like they still did a great job at that. So I mean, you can kind of get a good idea talking to the people, how they're going to fit on your committee. So long, it kind of feels like scouting for your team too, right?
Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah.
Yeah, you have that conversation, and sometimes you just keep going. You're like, yeah, this guy can just talk, and they'll
That's why I
fit
love the
in.
IHF. You don't have to think, oh, I got to fight for this guy in the draft. No, I pick him.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's pretty well just finding the right people, and then sometimes something might come up, and they're who you thought they were going to be a great fit, and then they spend a lot of time offline, and but people have personal real lives, and there's more important stuff than fake hockey and fake hockey awards. So it just happens.
I actually had that happen with one of my new hires, Delirium. Approached me, loved his app, loved his energy, and this is sort of a running joke, Noxu has applied 3 times now. I love his app, but there was always someone that edged him out.
Yeah, you hire him or I'm hiring him.
Well, I ended up hiring
I love Noxu. Yeah.
And I felt bad for him, because it's like I keep really wanting to hire him, and then someone else just comes along. But now it's like, no, I'm hiring him, bringing him on board, and If HO has a problem with it,
So, yeah, is this Quebec IHF bias? Because we all want to hire.
no, it's just I
Yeah,
really. It's like I just really freaking like him. He's been a good grader, and he's done a hell of a good job. So
yeah. Hot take of the 47-minute mark. Noxu, good user.
mhm.
I was gonna say too. Let me just make fun of Cooper for a second.
Go
I
ahead.
ask you, who's a good, who's a good person and a good culture? And this motherfucker comes back and says toaster. Yeah, we know. He's toaster. He's like, I love that. I absolutely love that guy. And this is not just so that I can one up him again, and continue to show more love than he can show me back. But he will never ever be able to one up that, and that brings me joy. I know. Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that it's going so well in the awards. And honestly, I hope that the reception to these rule changes has been really solid across the board, both within the committee and without. And it sounds like your mature members are mature adults. So.
Yeah, thankfully. Yeah, no, it's good. I think the changes are good. My big thing's always positivity, and I think everyone's positive about the changes, and the committee members are fine with it. So it's all been good. I think it'll be a good change.
Yeah. To speak a little bit more generally as well, with regards to let's say extra party transparency. Of course, within the committee, with all the discussions and the bonuses, and I'm sure the way it's organized, the decision making is all very transparent and clear to each other. What steps are you going to look to take to communicate more clearly with the outside group about what's going on inside and the decisions made and why?
Right. So I think the only thing that's like the last couple seasons now, with the posts I've made with all the nominees, what's happened with not the nominees, where we've had, say, like 8 nominee players for the Bojo, so we've had to whittle it down to 3 or 4, and that process and how it happens. And I've put in the honorable mentions as well, because there's players that get nominated but make the short list because they've only been nominated by, say, 1 or 2 committee players, instead of the one player who was nominated by all committee members. So I like getting those names out there, which is nice. And without those posts, they would never know that they were ever talked about for an award. So if that, from my perspective, if that had been my player, like, oh, okay, they thought about me, that's cool. So that I think it's a nice little shout out for someone to read through and see their player name. But I think the one thing we're missing from the transparency right now is who made the votes for those nominees. And I've got what the committee members had to say, but I didn't specifically say who said it. So that's pretty well the only thing missing, and I don't see any reason now why we can't let that out as well. So I was given a lot of details from the ISFL award committee, and like they pretty well give out a full spreadsheet with all the results of the poll, just put into a spreadsheet. So I don't see any reason why we can't share the same information, so you can see what committee member voted for this person and why. And I don't think there's any reason why the community can't see that information now.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I do know that hearing that, I would worry that, hey, one of them is going to get dogpiled, or if one person's found to be consistently voting out of lockstep, then it won't just be seen as a wrong decision they're making. It would be like this is a malicious decision or a biased person. But I do almost wonder, right, if that is a biased person, if that's not sort of a self-correcting system.
I
But
think
I don't want people
in all honesty, with the bias, I think the biggest concern was we had a couple members from the Pride, and I mean the Pride were in their prime, and they
yeah,
kept winning
that
awards.
was a funny thing, right?
So I mean, does it look like
Mhm.
bias? Kind of, but I mean, you got
they're
to give
making
them
history,
credit.
so
I mean, look
yeah,
at what they've done. They won the cup three seasons in a row.
yeah.
Justin Time is incredible. Logan Webb has been incredible. Like you can't help it, right?
Yeah. Thank you for helping me to be able to afford them both. So I couldn't have done it without you, buddy.
Yeah.
You get those guys, and I get Patrick and Toaster. It's all good.
Yeah. I know. Let me see there. I know. I was talking with some of the people in the what is it, ISFL? Or
Yeah.
There's a few other leagues where I'm always amazed how many leagues people manage to be.
There's so many. There's so many. I tried being in the SSL as well. Well, I still am, and I'm trying to get back in active again in that. But yeah, one league is enough for me.
Yeah. It's so much, especially with so many people in like school and things where, it's. Especially when
you talk to some people, you're scouting, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, I came over from the ISFL. I'm in the PDE and the SSL as well, and I do my own side thing, and I'm in college and I'm going for my degree and all that." I'm like, "Holy crap! Like, slow down."
I can sympathize with that, and that's part of what Caliph and Kate got mad at me about.
I mean,
right?
I do, but I'm a huge hypocrite because I'm going for my.
Well, if you want to hear the full list, so right now, technically, I'm a board member on the Georgia Pride Alliance. I am the treasurer for the chapter at my university. I am.
These are stress-free jobs, of course, right? Everything is going well.
Treasurer of the local Lutheran Church student organization. Also helping run some stuff for the local YDSA chapter. Then I'm doing a bachelor's degree program and certificate.
What's your bachelor's in?
Environmental science.
Yeah. That's man, especially down south too.
Oh yeah. And then on top of that, I am also going to be a TA this summer too.
Wow, good for you.
Yep. So point being, it's insane. And the point is, yeah, some people just really need to cut back. So I can anything. Oh god. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's great. I mean, you've clearly got a path laid out for yourself, and it's wonderful to be involved in so many things.
Yeah. But it's still amazing to me how much people can do here on the site and keep busy with IRL too. It's definitely something I.
Oh yeah, it's insane. There's people here who just don't sleep; they just inhale the SHL 24/7. I don't think Luke sleeps. I think if he does sleep, he's dreaming about updating or changing something, while he's dreaming.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's all good.
I wonder if we're gonna hear Stella just go screaming in the micro. Did you guys hear the dog just bellow?
Yes.
She's such a tiny, sweet dog too. Her voice looks nothing like her appearance. I might throw a picture of her in the comments too, just so people can see like her dramatic side eye and the way she sleeps with her paws over her head. She's dead. I know Kate has that cat that sleeps on her head. Everyone seems to have their stupid animals. But let me see. Yes, we talked about job pay. We talked about New Vegas. We're doing great. We're banging this out. Let me see. We don't have too much time left. Is there anything you wanted to throw his way, Ara? Or, of course, Coop, if you wanted to ask any questions of us as well, you're more than welcome.
Pretty good for the moment. Do you have anything, Coop?
No, not really. I don't know if you wanted to. You started off talking about GM to GM. I thought you were going to get right into our trade prior to the draft. I mean, I think that's worth talking about. That was a pretty fun trade.
You want to go ahead?
Yeah, that was a really fun trade. Yeah, I know. I am going to be looking forward to future trades with you guys as well, because I not to be mean, I expect those Texas firsts to have a good bit of value, right?
100%.
Yeah, not to be like, hey, but you guys are going to take a pretty heavy TPE hit in the. I mean,
we already have.
Yeah, not that it's doing anything for the value of those picks, of course. You know, it might be insider trading, but could you guys suck a little bit more, please? I need to sell those for money.
We will continue to win.
But I guess as a team, what are you guys looking forward to in the future? What are you gunning for? Tell me what I can trade to you for money, because that Coop money is really tasty.
Now. Don't get overly ambitious.
That's the voice of HO
Ambitious.
crashing down on us, going, "Don't insider trade."
I am not allowed to give my official opinion, but I think you'll both know how I feel.
No, we're just gonna keep on winning.
Mhm. Yeah, I know that was quite fun going back and forth with you, and there were a few moments there where we both went, "All right, this is a settled deal. Hang on a second."
Hang on a second. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
like you were talking about, Alley and Weston Windsor, like they're, you put them up on the board. I was just like, hey, like we could use a defenseman, so maybe this will work out. And it all just kind of started, kept building and coming together. But I mean, like I think in the end, I think we both benefited very well from it. Like I've got
Hugely, right?
no complaints, and then being able to turn it into Manhattan put their second overall on the board, and we jumped at it. So
yeah, I know. We were talking in our front office. We're like, is he gonna go for the second overall, or is he gonna bite the bullet, go for Eddie, drop another second, and lock in that toaster buy?
Yeah, well,
that was
really,
the easiest prediction we ever made.
I was kicking myself when Toronto traded for first overall from Minnesota, and I was talking to Eddie about it, and what I understood was that they were trading their fifth and moving up. I was like, I can't beat that, so I walked away. And then they got their 12th or something. I was like, no, come on, I could have done better than that. No, so I was very upset, and I was like, fuck, because Toronto was going to take away that. I thought they were going toaster first.
Yeah,
I really thought they were.
I saw that trade, and I'm like, Coop is Coop is crying into his Canada Prime tonight.
Yes.
I think myself and Jay were back and forth, just kind of trying to figure what we were doing, and it was just like emojis back and forth, like suspicious and the frog taking notes, like just trying to figure each other out until we were like, all right, let's just tell each other what we're doing. This is getting kind of old.
Yeah.
And he straight up told me, who they were taking first, and I was just like, what? I was like, so is that we get Toaster and Patrick? And the rest of the draft was just a win, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was solid. I know we're just about out of time. So honestly, Coop, I think we're going to have you back on again, buddy.
I would agree.
Yeah, happy to come by anytime. Great. Lots of fun.
We'll part two you and Toaster at the same time, eh?
There you go. Let's do that. That sounds like a great time.
Yeah.
But then Patrick's going to get jealous, and he's going to want to turn too. So
bring him on. We can do what?
I think that will end it for tonight, y'all.
Who needs money anyway?
Into the box you go. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, thank y'all for Coop. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. We look forward to having you back. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us. Goodbye and good night. We'll see you on the next Blizzard Buzz.